guys, welcome to another edition of Life Beyond Tech. So today I want to chat with you a little bit about my transition out of corporate life into the family business. This was huge, to say the least. For me, it wasn't the natural progression or natural transition across from one to the other. There was a lot of emotions involved. There was a lot of leaping involved as well. It was roughly about 10 years ago, and I was pregnant with my first child, Matthias, and working in a private public government entity. My intent was the usual as everybody else: go on maternity leave, finish maternity leave, return to work. At that same point in time, Southern Technology Limited, which is our parent company, was on the cusp of transitioning in a good way, where we really wanted to start a subsidiary because we recognized that the environment was thirsty for subscription-based IT support, similar to how insurance works, where you literally have your outsourced IT on retainer. Very simply put, that's the best way to explain it. But at that point in time, my husband really needed the additional support and additional brain power, so to speak, to make that leap. One, for someone to take over the running of the parent company, and two, to assist in that leap into our new subsidiary, which you guys are quite familiar with by now, 800 Tech. So I had that tough decision to make, because here I am, excellently positioned in the corporate entity, literally being offered a managerial position upon my return from maternity leave. And on the flip side, on the family side, let's grow the business into the vision that we both see, that we both share. Now, mind you, it's not that I was completely out of the business. I have always been involved, but I've always been the silent partner, so to speak. Where help is needed, I would help. I would put things together, but then I would pass it along and get back to my mainstream business. Balancing that decision with being a first-time mom, with just understanding really what I'm letting go, what I'm about to hold on to, coupled with the responsibilities of motherhood, was really a lot to swallow at that point in time. Looking back now, 10 years in the future, it was the best decision I could have ever possibly made. But at that point in time, I'm not going to kid you guys, I was a muddle of news. I was wondering, is this the right decision? I'm stepping away from a guaranteed salary, no matter whether I produce or don't produce, to an environment where I must produce, where I must show up, where I must be 100% on top of my game all the time. Stepping into motherhood simultaneously. And that was a huge pull, I have to tell you guys, when I made that decision, because I've always been, quote unquote, the workaholic. And I knew stepping into motherhood meant that I would have to step away from some of my responsibilities, or rather, I shouldn't say step away from my responsibilities, but really just reduce the vigor that I would put towards each project, the long working hours, the position where work was my number one priority. Work would quickly get a demotion. And I had to wrap my mind around that and understand that it was necessary. And that is why motherhood wasn't something I rushed into. That is why motherhood was something I really took my time stepping into, because I understood the shift that would be required in my career. So one of the things I did, and I guess this is really why I was so enthused about it, is when I took that leap out of the private public sector into the family business, I set up my office so that my office was literally shared between me and my son. So half of my office was literally a daycare. There was a playpen, a bottle warmer for milk, the station to change diapers, the whole 9 yards. It was set up in my office. And the other half of my office was that professional space where I can sit, get my work done. Because at that point in time, what I wanted more than anything else was the best of both worlds. I wanted to be that amazing mom, and I wanted to retain that position as a professional woman, achieving and succeeding. Yes, I wanted to do the Superman, or rather Superwoman cape situation. And for the most part, I was successful in it. But as you and I and everybody knows, there will always be gaps. There will always be things that will fall through the cracks when you're trying to prioritize two things at the same point in time, which is exactly what I was trying to do. And at some point in time, I had to step back and recognize, okay, yes, I can prioritize, but I need to choose what I prioritize and when I prioritize it. So there would be moments where I prioritize my son, and then there would be moments when I prioritize the company and my responsibilities associated with the company. So one of the things I had to recognize is how to raise my hand and say, hey, I need help. I can't do it all. I can't throw on that superhero cape and just run out there and do it. So one of the first things I did is, much to my displeasure, but one, recognize that I needed help, and two, seek out the help. I actually had to put my son in the daycare. Something I didn't want to do. My intent was to raise him in my office. Yes, I know it's a pipe dream, but raise him in my office until kindergarten, and then he would just transition over into school. But once again, filled with feelings, filled with emotion, one of the toughest days I can recall, we enrolled him into a daycare and we put him in the daycare. He was 10 months old at that point in time. And I gotta tell you, I probably left the office about 5 times that day, just going to check to make sure that they knew what they were doing. You know, typical moms, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. But what I found at the end of all of that bundle of emotions was the peace that I needed. Because yes, I was trying to prioritize, okay, this is work time, this is time for my son, this is time for my family, but it was still pretty muddy and there was a lot of blurring of the lines. By me putting him in that daycare, I did several positive things. One, I definitively, and there was a very clear line of delineation between, this is my office time where I can sit, I can focus, I can be strategic, I can have full and complete thoughts, and moms out there would know exactly what I'm talking about, because when your kids are around, your full and complete thoughts just don't happen. And I can, at the same point in time, close my day off in a very deliberate way and switch over and prioritize my family, my newborn baby, while also giving him something that was very critical. And this is something to the credit of my sister. She said to me, she said, kids need to learn how to interact with kids. Kids need to learn how to develop those socialization skills. So when they actually move into kindergarten life, school life, they're able to adjust a lot quicker. And at that point in time, I was like, what do you know? But you know what? It was one of the best pieces of advice ever. Because I can see now, hindsight being 2020, how easy it was for him to transition from daycare into kindergarten. I can see now how easy it was for me to have that assistance so that I could have clearly delineated the line and clearly prioritized the right way. Not with the blurring of the lines, not with me trying to wear my superhero cape, but with me really being able to give my 100% to work when I'm in the work environment, and my 100% to my kid, I have two now, so pardon me for speaking in plural. My kid at that point in time. But you know what? I look at it as a blessing, because let's fast forward now to 2021, well, 2020 into 2021 with COVID. And all of us battling and dealing with this situation where we have our kids at home who are now in virtual school, and you're balancing the parent-teacher role. You're also balancing work from home. You're also balancing the family dynamic. You're also balancing the husband-wife spouse dynamic. There are a lot of things you're juggling, and home has now become a school, a office, a home, at a point in time a church when churches weren't open. It literally, the home began to wear multiple hats. And I think that 10 years ago, the skills that I learned, the experiences that I got, the knowledge that I gained, helped me to foster and create those delineated lines as COVID came and quickly kicked us in the butt. So we quickly recognized one of the things we had to do was create a space where the kids would know, okay, we're now in the school environment, we have to wear our school hats on, so to speak, and engage. So our dining room has now been completely converted into a classroom. Then what we did, we utilized the other half of our downstairs, me being the television room and my husband being in the sitting room, as office spaces to really just create that level of separation and delineation. Understanding, and we educated the kids on cues to know when I'm in a meeting or he's in a meeting. We respect each other's space. We give each other the quiet time that is needed. So there's no background noise, there's no added distractions, to really get things done in an effective and productive way. But more importantly, we quickly understood when school day is over, when work day is over, it's time for family time. And we transition the space, not physically, but mentally accordingly. So the conversations are different, the engagement is different. And a lot of families struggle with that for quite some time. But I have to say, that leap from corporate into family dynamic, that transition into immediate motherhood, grappling and pulling at learning a new environment, because the private sector, family business is definitely a lot to gobble up and learn and experience. While the fundamentals of business may be the same, how it's executed in a family environment is completely different. The level of bureaucracy, the level of budget is definitely different. And being able to manipulate that and quickly grasp it is extremely important. So for me, I think in this particular instance, the skills of the past have benefited me and my family by extension so significantly in the present day. So would I change it? No. Was it a tough lesson and took me a minute? Sure it did. But is it helping me now to be the best mom I can be, the best businesswoman I can be in the virtual environment, in the COVID space, in a home that converts from classroom to office to home to church, or whatever it is you want it to be at that moment in time? Most definitely. So that's my life beyond tech. See you soon, Thursday, 4 p.m. for another edition of Life Beyond Tech.